Hello,
Yeah.
Mary.
It's not so fun waiting, is it? But yeah, y'all make us wait all the time. That's what Tony was saying before I clicked the button.
You know what I said.
But hey, if I'm gonna lie to bro, at least I'll do it when you're here on camera too. Instead of just saying on Monday when I ain't there.
You're there Mondays. You're right there in that little corner.
But am I on the screen?
No. But
I'll
you,
say it to your face like a man.
but you can get on the screen.
But I'll say it to your face.
I am saying it to your face.
Not literally. Figuratively.
Lord have mercy. All right.
Now, Brother Tony, this better not be one of them shouting services because I'll punch a hole in the ceiling.
We are at my luscious place with our fantastic studio. You see how I do everything right. See how gorgeous this place is?
Should I kill the green screen? Should I kill the virtual background? Alrighty.
All right, we're waiting for some people to say hi. CJ's ready to get back home.
I'm ready to stand up and stretch. Already, we ain't even started.
Mr. Grant. Yes, I speak absolutely that you are healed. Which, all right, Grant, I know you're cool with it, so I'm going to use you for an example. This is the way this is the way we're taught. This is the way our culture is. Okay. I want you to look and see the way you worded that, Grant. To make sure the cancer is still gone. Okay. Now, you're doing absolutely the right thing. You're seeing it, yes. You're seeing it in your mind's eye. Absolutely beautiful. But you see it, so you've experienced it. Therefore, just like the old prophets, I've talked about this a lot. They say, I see, when they were given a prophecy, because they saw it. That meant that was the truth. It did not matter what was going on in the physical realm.
Yep.
So let's just tweak that a little bit more. You've experienced it, so you no longer need that physical evidence because you've seen it. That's the difference right there. So hopefully this helps you out, Grant, and helps everyone else out. Once you see it in the spirit, that's the truth. So therefore, it's no longer, I have a TC scan, blah, blah, blah. It is, I've seen it. This is the truth. I'm clear. And the other thing, which this is a little nitpicky, but once again, this goes with quit trying to get your healing and have your healing. This is quit putting that carrot, quit dangling that carrot in front of yourself. Okay? Have the carrot. And so instead of to make sure my cancer is all gone, it would be something akin to my whatever part of the body it was, my lungs are clear. You're not making sure something is gone. So that's a little tweak.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Hello, Mercedes.
And hopefully everyone else can learn from that. And some of that we're going to be talking about here in a second as well. Mr. CJ. Let me ask you a question. All right.
This ought to be good.
So, is there time and space in the spirit?
Definitely no time.
Nor distance.
Well, you said space.
Same thing.
I want to make sure I was clear on your definition for the word space, Mister. I make up words.
Don't make me do a Bret Hart, the Hitman Hart on you and the sharpshooter.
I would say I'd pick you up for a choke slam, but I'll put your head through the ceiling. No one realizes I cannot sit up straight in this room.
They do realize it. You've taken pictures
for the
of
newbies, like Samantha and some others that are new.
No, quit frickin' ignoring symptoms, people.
I was wondering when you were going to see that. Hold on.
And we're going to get into that a little bit.
A red alert has been issued. This means that the next 5 sentences that comes out of Tony's mouth, you must pay extreme attention to. Listen to the words coming out of my mouth.
You don't ignore symptoms. I'm gonna get into that, but if you're ignoring symptoms, you are cementing the symptoms in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It's not ignoring symptoms. Let me repeat that. It is never ignoring symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
It's not denying symptoms either. This is where I'm at now. This moment. I'm in extreme pain. Okay. Now, I'm not. I'm completely healed. When you embrace it, then you can set it loose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's like this. In order to set something loose, then it's got to be in your possession, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Tape. If I ignore that I have this tape in my hand, then I can't cut it loose, can I?
No.
Here's the fine line. And this ties into what we were talking about with Grant. Okay? And so, I'm not ignoring or denying the symptoms. Instead, I'm experiencing, through the visualization, the truth. I've experienced it. So now, that symptom no longer exists. I cut it loose. I want everybody to get that, because it's something every single buddy. I ministered to someone earlier, and it was the same thing. Ignoring symptoms. We're seeing evidence why right now. Okay? And the reason why is because we don't believe it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're still suffering, especially when you hear all these churches and these churches people, and they're fighting to get set free, even though Jesus already set them free, but they're so focused on sin because the churches are pretty much saying Jesus didn't do nothing. We have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that mean? It exists to us because we think we have to fight the battle.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me if that's making sense to you, Samantha.
I'll say the past week and a half, we've been running super hard. That's why I had to come up here because we didn't have time to go to my place. Yeah, some aches and pains were hitting, and guess what? I didn't ignore that I had some aches and pains. I said these aches and pains are stupid and they got to go because it's going to get better. And then it got better.
So do you see the difference now, Sam? And we're friends, so I'm just going to call you Sam. I'm going to quit calling you Samantha.
You're giving Eric nightmares with the red alert.
Good. Play it again. All right. Wait a minute. Go back.
A red alert has been issued. This means that the next 5 sentences that comes out of Tony's mouth, you must pay extreme attention to. Listen to the words coming out of my mouth.
So when you experience it in the spiritual world, which is the world of the imagination, which is its own realm, it's the realm of creation. When you see it, just like the old prophets, I see. They didn't sit there and tell the people, I will see in the future. No, I see. They saw it in the spirit. That became the truth. Period. That's what brings it into this physical world.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is not about ignoring the pain. Like I said, that cements it into this world. But when you accept it, hey, this is where I'm at. 1, 2, 3 is gone.
Mm-hmm. And going back to Samantha's earlier statement, why are people still suffering? Is because of what they're saying. Oh, this is just a family disease I have to deal with. Oh, I don't want to get better, so I have to go back to work. Or oh, there's so much speak in the negative and all that. That's not helping either.
If you've seen it in a spiritual world, Amy, that's the truth. You've seen the truth. What is there to be fearful of? Once again, this goes back to the way our society and our culture is about the imagination. The imagination to our culture is a work of fiction. To God, it isn't. Mm-hmm. And to our brains, it's not. If you visualize something, if you see something, your brain accepts it as the truth. And that's part of the problem. Because what do? We see ourselves as sick. We see ourselves as having a problem. Therefore, we get into fear. And that's where the fear comes from. Fear comes from we're believing the physical reality over the spiritual truth. That's where fear comes from. So if we go right back and we believe in the spirit over the physical reality, then that fear is gone. That's a short little teaching on that.
Didn't you ask me a question a minute ago?
Yeah, and then we got, which is fine. I'd rather deal with the questions.
Oh yeah.
Which a lot of the questions actually play right into what we're talking about tonight. Good. Awesomeness. Okay. And keep up with the questions, all y'all. These are good questions tonight. All right. Are we ready to get into this a little bit?
You talk about the question you asked me a minute ago?
I've actually already made the point I was going to try to make. So, actually.
Oh, hold on. Not done. Fear of death.
Die twice and then you won't be afraid of it anymore. Do not do this at home.
Disclaimer. Disclaimer alert. We need to do one of me going, disclaimer alert. Disclaimer alert. Just because Tony said it, don't mean do it. Oh Lordy.
There's nothing
Lend
to
the music.
fear but fear itself.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there. There's nothing about death that is fearful. I'm being serious now.
You were semi-serious earlier, but
Well, the quickest way to get over fear something is walk through it. No, don't do it.
disclaimer alert. Disclaimer alert. Please sign this waiver so you can.
Perfect love casts out fear. Perfect love casts out all fear. When you know you are loved and when you love yourself, then fear will dissipate.
Mm-hmm.
When you experience the spiritual truth, then fear has no hold over you. When you know that you are loved, like I was talking about, was it yesterday? About love? I think it was.
Yeah.
The love which is within us, and we always have, God's love for us, when we know how overwhelming it is, then how can we be in fear of anything? Does that help?
With he who is in us and nothing can hurt us, what do we have to fear?
You have nothing to fear. And perfect love casts out fear.
Mm-hmm.
It's not love that you create, it's the love that's established within us already. Okay. So, my whole point and the questions I was going to ask, which I've already forgotten, so I can't ask them anyhow. Like I talked about last week, healing starts within.
Mm-hmm.
All healing, I don't care. And I don't care whether I speak life over you, someone, the healing starts within.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Therefore, healing is spiritual. All right? And my point with what I was going to ask CJ is just that, is there is no time, space, or distance in the spirit, which there is not. Now, we, because we're still thinking of it along physical terms, we think that the time and all that was man-made for our physical existence. For us, it doesn't exist. What you're doing when you're being healed Since healing is of the spirit, you are collapsing time. That process, you're not skipping over the process. You're collapsing the process, putting it in a shorter time period. Okay, so when I talk about collapsing the timeline, that's what I'm talking about. You're pulling the highest version of your healing into this physical world. All right? Whether you realize it or not. So it's not skipping the pain, it's not getting rid of the pain, blah, blah, blah. There's none of that crap. Are you with me?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you give me? So if you look at it like a staircase, is you're still going all the way up the staircase, but you're not stepping on every single step.
Oh, like I take a staircase.
Yes, good example.
I skip 2, sometimes 3 steps at a time.
And here's the thing. Everybody thinks you got to wait. This takes time. That's earthly thoughts. That's physical thought. And when I talk to somebody, just trying to convince them that it's possible that you're healed right now
Mm-hmm.
is sometimes like pulling teeth. A lot of times it's like pulling teeth because people think it has to, that quote unquote, there's a process. And that's what, well, sometimes there's a process. There is a supposed process, but if you think in those terms, you think the process includes a timeline.
Time is a healer if that is how you believe it, see it, and do it.
But confident expectation put off makes the heart sick.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, you put off your healing and you're doing exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
You're putting it off. That's why it's so important. And that's why I think this is a good teaching, because instead of looking at it like most people do, which is poof, healing just magically falls down. Instead, if you look at it more this way, then your intellectual, rational thinking can relate it, and so you can understand it a little better.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at it as it has to be a process, yes, but it's a process that's collapsed. And so you go through the whole process instead of 2 years, it's 30 seconds.
Or a smaller example, how many people will feel groggy or whatever and they're like, oh, I'll feel better after getting that sleep.
So
They just put it off till
right,
the morning.
you shift from waiting to heal,
Mm-hmm.
which I hate those words, to choosing to align to wholeness now. You're having your healing instead of trying to get your healing.
Mm-hmm.
When you're trying to get your healing, you're dangling the carrot just out of reach, and that's what you're doing to yourself. Here's an example. How you're waiting for your healing. I'll feel better once enough time passes. Once they apologize, I'll move on. Right? You're waiting. My body needs months to recover. Hello? You have no idea. And here, when people call me They know that I'm not about waiting. Why are you calling me?
If I would have waited on an apology for the first time you smacked me upside the head, we wouldn't be doing this right now. Oh, come on. You got to give me that one.
So here's the thing. One, what you see in the spirit, okay, your brain believes.
Mm-hmm.
It's as if it really happened when you believe that. If you think it's just a work of fiction, then that's all it is. All right? Neurologically, the brain treats vividly imagined events as real. This is the premise for visualization, PTSD flashbacks, anticipatory anxiety. Okay? It's because you're seeing all the negative crap.
Mm-hmm.
Intention plus visualization plus embodiment equals time collapse. Let me say that again slower. Intention plus visualization, embodiment equals time collapse.
Mm-hmm.
In every case. Now, you don't have to understand this. You don't have to know this for it to happen, but it does. That's what's going on. That's what I've been teaching for 12 years, 13 years, 14 years, however long.
Now, wait a minute. If time doesn't matter, then why are you talking about how long you've done it?
Two separate things.
You got your reactions on.
Yes, you know I have my reactions on.
Samantha.
There is no such thing as time in the spirit.
Time is man-made.
Okay. And I love your question. And it's a very good question. How do I deal with this and be politically correct? I don't. Okay. Here's the thing. And I know what Churchiandy's taught you. Your loved ones are spirits. They can communicate to you. Okay? You just have to be open to it. Last year, I talked about when my father died. And I had one specific blue butterfly keep coming every time I would go outside and land on me. Okay? Our loved ones, they don't need God to give you the okay. God's okay with it. Okay? You're not talking about, this is not like the Witch of Endor. Samuel was bringing the Witch of Endor back into the physical reality. The completely different deals. They can connect with you. They do connect with you just as God does and can. Okay? It's perfectly okay. And in fact, you can set your intention because your mother hears you. You can say, Mom, I want to experience this. Send me butterflies. Okay? And she absolutely can. Or, you know, a cardinal. Say you love cardinals. All right? You could talk to your mom and just say, Mom, can you send me a cardinal? That's because you're thinking of it as in a physical body mindset. The spiritual world is more real than the physical world. You can communicate to her. She can answer you. It's on a different level. And of course, we don't like it. We like to be able to feel our loved ones. Okay? I told you I've been watching wrestling all day. That should have been your warning. I'll put you in a sharpshooter.
I like to see you try. Headlock.
All right.
I use the Big Show TKO punch.
Yes, I know. You and the Big Show are brothers.
I was more of a Braun Strowman guy myself if you're talking about the new group.
Release that dissatisfaction. All right, just like we were talking about with the pain a second ago. All right, in order to release it, grab a hold of it. This is the way it is. And now I release it. So now I can be content with the form of communication that we can have. All right. Now, you also talked about heaven. I'm sorry. Should I burst people's bubbles or try to be nice? When am I
Little
ever
nice.
nice?
Little nice. Slow roll into this one. Slow roll.
I don't know how slow roll.
Well, you got to start in first gear. But it's taking
Heaven is God's presence. God's presence is with us all the time right now. People have this wrong mythical, logical idea of what heaven's going to be like because there's a bunch of numbskulls teachings. And we take things that are to be literal that aren't literal. Oh, Eric, you're just gonna let it fly by you if you want to. Heaven is not going to be this miniature physical world. Okay?
it's not a castle on a cloud.
No, you ain't gonna have literal mansions. That was God speaking figuratively to a people that only knew the physical things. And so he was speaking like that so people could relate. Do you understand that you do not have a physical body when you are a spirit? Okay, this is not going to be a miniature earth like what we have now. Then we might as well just stay on earth. All right. Yes. That's where Eric is still churchy. Ooh.
Are you trying to burst his bubbles?
Not really. Once again, God relates to us in the manner that we're at. Paul was seeing those things for God to be able to get Paul to understand. Okay? We have got too much mythology in Christianity. I'm sorry. The kingdom is already here. It is within us and all around us. Heaven is where God's Spirit is. And it's already within us. Then believe your dream, Brooke.
Grab a hold of that dream and don't let go.
See it, believe it,
Mm-hmm.
it will happen.
Hold on to that like I hugged Tony. Just hold it till he turns blue in the face.
But this dude, Micah Turbo, whatever, and he comes. Y'all want to hear these stories about angels and how they're really, they have a body and hands and everything else. Y'all get so trapped up in that stuff. Oh, that's mythology. Spirit means there is no physical body. God does not have a physical body. That's how he is everywhere and in all things. It's a sorry state of affairs for me. Don't piecemeal me to death, Mr. Eric. I'm giving you main points so that you can comprehend it just a little bit. Okay, we're going to get back on topic, Eric. Once again, we are trying to relate things from a physical perspective. I guarantee. And hello, I've been there. Okay? I was dead. All right? It's not the way you think it is. Trust me on this. Bubble bursting.
And now, the only thing I'm going to say is, Tony, I know Tony, I can speak on Tony's behalf where he puts his stamp of approval on the Mirror Bible. The Mirror Bible is the number one in Tony's mind. I like the Mirror. I also like the Passion. Anyway.
Passion is okay.
Bubble bursting. You need to redo the name of this video, of this live stream.
Edit bubble bursting. Okay.
Granny
Granny
learned Facebook again. Straighten up, Tony. Granny's here.
We already knew she was here.
I didn't.
All right. And she's absolutely right. Our brains cannot comprehend what the spirit and things will be like. Instead, we make up mythology. Okay? That does not even make sense.
So whatever you even try to imagine it to be, it's going to be
going
a million times
different. It's going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me on
that.
that.
That's a fact, Jack.
Okay.
Take that one to the bank.
So, Sam, back to you.
Oh, Nano Walker. Whew.
be more sensitive to the spirit than to the physical world. Yes, because you're bringing everything. Okay. You could say this is way off topic, but let's go.
I'm giving up on the topic. Just go on. This is Q&A day
All right.
and bubble bursting.
Everything comes from the spiritual world. The spiritual world created the physical world. I've got a few videos on this. The spiritual world is the parent world. That is from which everything else was birthed. And Paul talks about this. Okay? That's why, even in this physical world, you cannot separate it, because if you separate it, then the physical world ceases to exist. Everything comes from the spiritual dimension. Everything. And this is where you get quantum science and quantum physics and all of that stuff. All right? And so you're not trying to bring physical stuff into the spiritual world. That's impossible, because the physical stuff came from the spiritual world. Everything was framed in the spiritual world, of which your imagination and visualization are all part of. Okay? And so I want you to grab a hold of that. Your healing is from the spiritual world. And anything else that happens in this physical world, that's where it comes from. That's why it's such an error and such mistake when you think that healing, miracles, whatever, just poof, just happens. No, it was created in the spiritual world first. All right? That's why I want to get through to y'all. That's why we need to think the way God thinks. Because then that's when we're seeing the truth and responding to truth, instead of trying to bring our healing from the creation into us. And that's what we try to do because of the way we've been taught. That's not what you're doing. But that's what we tried to do. So it is becoming more sensitive to the spiritual nature of things and less sensitive to the physical nature of things. It is energy that changes matter. Matter cannot change matter. All right? Matter cannot change matter. So if we are thinking in a physically minded mindset, then we are thinking, and our reference point is the physical world, and we're trying to change matter. That doesn't work. And that's what most people are trying to do. Is energy, which is spirit, that changes matter. So our reference point needs to be from Christ, not from Adam. Most of us think in terms of Adam. Instead, we're thinking of terms of Christ in the spiritual dimension, which is the dimension of creation. That's where we create the physical existence. What are emotions? Energy and motion. Therefore, if you have negative energy, you create, guess what? A negative thing. All right? Yes. Energy changes matter. When we are trying to think with our intellect and our rational thinking, we are thinking with the carnal mind. The carnal mind is matter. You cannot change matter with matter. You change it with energy. And that's what we're all talking about. What's up, James?
And now you want to talk about books on Amazon? How about these books right here? Right there. That's the link. The author puts his name on these books, unlike Mr. Anonymous. Just saying. And hello, James.
All right. Does everybody follow me? Nana, you got me? Cynthia, you got me?
Well, my sis made it in.
Granny, you got me? Everybody on the same page? All right. Do what? What'd you say?
I said my sis made it in.
She's been here for like 5 minutes.
I couldn't get a word in edgewise to say hi to her.
You were doing all the talking. Don't be looking at me like that. I'll put you in the rear neck hold.
I like to see you try.
Or my arm can fit around that big head.
Because I know my arm can fit right around yours. Huh? Huh? Noogie. Go ahead. It's right here. Do it. Do it. Oh, wait. Tiny arms.
All right. Are y'all with me? Is
Fall in
everybody
love.
with me? We'll probably get to the devil just to get to Eric.
Why not?
Prayer is communication. God's already given us everything we need.
Mm-hmm.
He's already, that's the before they call, I wait. He's already answered us.
Yep.
And so that's what we got to get through to our noggins is we've already been blessed with everything, but we're not seeing it because we're thinking at it with a Western mindset.
You know, a lot of people get that one verse wrong. By his stripes, we were, which is past tense. So many people read that as we are,
Well,
as we were.
but because of the way the imagination is viewed, it makes no sense until you study the first 4 chapters in Genesis that shows you exactly what it is. And there weren't 2 times that God created people. Okay? There was one instance. That first instance was God saw it. And the second instance is when it happens. I understand, but it seems difficult when you're used to dealing with with physical all the time. It takes energy to change matter.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're thinking with a carnal mind, you are still, it is matter trying to change matter. That's where it is spiritual. Probably. We had a lot of different series, but I do know we covered that. Zane and I did, so yes. It's not difficult when one, you realize you're in Christ. Right. And instead, we're waiting on God to do this. We're waiting on God to do that. He's already shown us how to do it. He's given us the blueprint. It's right there in black and white. But the problem is we let people convince us otherwise. If you look at little children, they believe what they imagine. That's what's born from within. Then we get churchified and adultified, and bam, we lose it. This is not stuff that we have to strive in order to do. He put all of this within us. Okay? This is not about striving to achieve. He made it so that we can have it. Absolutely. It's a part of us, but because we are so focused on the physical aspects and on these eyeballs and on these ears, instead of our spiritual set, and then because of cognitive dissonance, where you've got two exactly opposite things, and you're trying to combine them both to make carnal sense, right? That's why people are in so denial when you teach truth, because it goes against everything they've been told and that they've believed, and they can't mesh them together. And so it's a form of insanity. And that's why so many people want to believe in the devil. So many people want to believe in hell. It takes a 5-minute study. But if you're in cognitive dissonance, you're going to keep going down the insane route. And that's where Christianity's at. And I'm just speaking truth, and people can get ticked off at me because they do it every time anyhow. We need to quit living in mythology. See, she put it in a politically correct tone with a little bit of honey and sugar on it too. It's a paradigm shift. So instead of saying mythology, you could say a paradigm shift. Be nice. Just be nice. It is a paradigm shift. And what you've been taught by men is wrong. Use fear and all this stuff. You know, I was having a conversation earlier and I said one word. How can you burn eternally in God's torture chamber when you have no body? Hello? That should end the thought about hell right there. But it only takes 5 minutes and looking up the Greek of what hell, what Jesus was actually referencing. And what Jesus was actually referencing, that study takes 5 minutes. But because of cognitive dissonance, You can't see past it. Revelation 12:9 is not what you think it is. And I'm not even going to get into eschatology today. All right. Now, as Mr. Eric would say, I bursted y'all's bubbles, or y'all ticked off at me. Any more questions, statements, comments? Of course, Eric would notice those.
Well, he's got 4 computers, or 4 monitors.
By making you can tell what them plates are? And I don't think they're not porcelain plates like yours, Eric. All right. Absolutely. But that's why and once again, and I didn't Monday I'm going to cover fear. And this is coming from somebody who was healed of severe PTSD. I've had those panic attacks. I don't anymore. So we're going to talk about it. But where your focus is, that's what you give power to. If it's negative energy, it's going to be negative outcomes. Okay. Anyhow, so if you're in negative emotions, then what are you creating? A negative outcome. You're creating fear. What you focus on is what you grow. All right. I can't help but automatically lean to my right.
See, what's your excuse now? Because this is your place, your setup. You can't blame me anymore. It's just what you do.
It's just what I do.
All right, so quit trying to blame me.
You blame me.
No, I tell you the truth.
The key to all this is an open heart. Look for the truth instead of what you've always been told. Because most of the truth is actually discernible in 5 minutes or less. But when you're dealing with religion, no proof in the world's enough. Because religion rejects the truth. That's just the bottom line. And religion has nothing to do with spiritual truth. People get ticked off at me for saying that, but it's the truth. All right. Eric summed it all up in one paragraph. All right. Anybody have any questions, statements, comments? Be blessed.
Be healed.
Yielded.
Healed.
And be a blessing.
Did. Love y'all.